So Parth in this video and anyone who's watching will be discussing Genetiv or genitive. So we have the masculine, neuter, feminine, and plural forms of all the forms of genitive, and we have des for masculine, des for neuter, der for feminine, and der for plural. And some examples of the nouns that could be used for these. Des Lehrers, the teachers. We see here that the es that normally goes with any other noun with the masculine form of genitive is not included because we don't need it for Lehrer since there is an e already before the r. We have des Hauses for neuter, of the houses. We have der Schule for feminine, of the school. And we have plural, der Leute, of the people. We also have dieses, eines, and keines. Dieses is referring to a specific object or noun, and that remains the same with the es and er for the feminine and plural. And same thing with eines, except we don't have anything for plural since eines refers to one object or noun, and keines, which refers to nothing, no book, no noun object. So yeah, now we will discuss the possessive forms or ways to use genitive.
All right, so genitive is basically mostly used for possession. In English, it's usually using apostrophes on nouns or the letter or the word of, saying the car of the woman or the woman's car, basically. So in German, it's also like that, and we wrote down some examples of sentences using those words. Die Eltern dieser Kinder sind hier, sie zu abholen. So using the dieser, the parents of the kids, basically showing possession. Wo ist das Auto der Frau? So the genitive part here is der Frau. Basically showing possession of the car of the woman. Das Kamera des Mädchens ist neu. So the camera of the girl is new. The girl's camera, basically. And ich bin die Freundin deines Bruders. So again, the friend of the brother, showing possession.
And we see here the different possession. Here it's saying deines Bruders means of your brother. So it translates I am the girlfriend of your brother, and we see deines down here as the masculine, and Mädchen is a neuter noun, therefore we use the des to indicate that the camera is hers. For examples, like in English, how we always say, like, this is Anna's book, or this is Amanda's chair, they use the same in German as well. Das ist Hanses Buch. You indicate it with an apostrophe since you do not need an extra S since the name ends in an S. And das ist Maria's Katze. You just add the S in German. You have no apostrophe in that case. The big question word that you would use for when you're asking if something has possession is, in English, whose book is this? So the key word there is whose. In German, the key word is wessen. So you would ask, wessen ist das Buch? And you would reply, das ist Hanses Buch. All right. So for prepositions with genitive, we have four main prepositions that are always used in addition to many others. Anstatt, which means instead of, trotz, in spite of, während, during, and wegen, on account of. And we have two examples here. Während der Schule macht seine Hausaufgaben. During the school, he does his homework. And der Schule here is showing a form of genitive. And this is not possession, but it is because of the während, we know to change the article here to genitive form. The second example, kommt trotz des Wetters. Trotz means in spite of. Here it's referring to, are you all coming in spite of the weather today? And here the noun Wetter changes to genitive, from neuter, from das to des. Okay. We also have masculine end nouns, which are very specific to genitive and change if they end in an N or EN in accusative and dative singular forms. If they change with N and EN at the end of the word, they're also going to make that change in the genitive. So we have here two examples, Herr and Student. For the accusative forms, we have Herrn, so Herr changes to Herrn, and also in dative, you add an N, Herrn, and therefore in genitive, it also changes to Herrn. For Student, accusative adds an EN, and so does dative, and so does genitive. Here we have other examples. Of course, there are other nouns that will also do this with the accusative and dative, and therefore the genitive. For other examples that may add something extra to the end when using genitive, we have der Name, which when it changes to genitive, it will go from der Name to des Namens. So we would have to add the EN in addition to an extra S. Then we have expressions of infinite time. We have the two main examples that are used, eines Nachts, which means like one night, and you would always use the es and s at the end of Nachts, and you can also replace that with Tages or Morgens. So we have here like two little examples. Eines Nachts war alles ruhig und dunkel. So this sounds like the beginning of a story that you could sometimes use when you're writing stories in German. Also, you could use it in a different context. Eines Nachts war wieder gesund. One night he was healthy again. So that's referring to if you just want to make a general statement. The other example, letzten Endes.
After all.
Which means after all. And we have an example here that says, letzten Endes können wir nichts dagegen machen. So it means after all, we couldn't make it. Okay.
And also, just like dative case, that there's dative verbs. For genitive, there's also some genitive verbs that if you see these verbs, you would absolutely use genitive followed up by genitive. So these are gedenken and ruhen, and we have examples of these. Wir gedenken unsere Soldaten, so we remember our soldiers, and rühmt sich seines Talents. So that's that.
All right, and I think that's the end of our video, so enjoy learning Genetiv.
Thanks, Amanda. I learned a lot.